Rwanda's capital, Kigali, is being rebuilt. The dense neighbourhoods of mud brick bungalows are being torn down to make way for 10-storey office blocks and shopping complexes. Communication and modernity are the new watchwords of a country which has ambitions to be at the forefront of development in the region. The past, however, has not been altogether erased. Rwanda's parliament building still dominates the skyline, carrying the scars of the 1994 battle for the capital. 5 years ago, this building became famous for something other than the war, as Rwanda elected 39 women to its 80-member Chamber of Deputies, the highest percentage of women parliamentarians not only in Africa, but across the world.
Our first session in Parliament, I think, was of mixed feelings. There were those of us who had been in Parliament who were excited and very confident, and there are those of us who were happy that we were there, but were just wondering, how are we going to contribute?
Rwanda's 2003 constitution implemented the UN target of 30% female representation in Parliament, but even allowing for this, the results were unexpected. As well as the 24 reserved seats, women won a further 15.
It is not only numbers, it was also the quality of those women we are electing to take those positions. And also for the common women at the village level, this gave them a certain message, a message that women can do.
Dr. Isa Kirabu Kasiria had previously practiced as a veterinarian, and through her work had developed close ties with the local rural community. She believes that these experiences helped her and other women MPs to bring something new to Rwanda's parliament.
We were forced to think deeply about what we shall do to change the status of the Rwandan woman in the village, out here in the streets, their security, their health, their reproductive health, their production, the whole of their livelihoods. We have come to Parliament to represent these women, and our yardstick is the livelihood or the status of the Rwandan woman.
But not everyone has seen the government's apparent empowerment of women in the same light.
The regime in Kigali since 1994, really, I think for their wrong reasons, decided to use women as one of those areas to market the country. That's what is going on up to today. Look at the constitution, 30% of women needed in almost all positions, local government, legislature, and everywhere. I think the government of Rwanda picked some areas that it used to market itself, a country coming out of genocide, out of war. It was the only thing written about.
Charles Kabonero is the editor of Umuseso, the only independent English language paper in Rwanda, and an outspoken critic of the government. He argues that the RPF had other reasons for sponsoring the change in the constitution.
The ruling party here has always fancied being in a situation where people don't really give it hard time. It really fears opposition. And if you look at our women, they are really women who could never dream of opposing this system. Women, naturally, they can be more loyal than men. They can be more tricked than men. And they can easily be put down, especially in politics where you need votes, you need support, you need all that. I was talking to some MPs, and one out came out with a funny statement that they have a woman there who has not talked for all these 3 years now. She has been in Parliament for 3 years and she has never talked.
Whenever they elect a woman, for example, a woman mayor of the city, or a minister, or a senator, most of the time you find this kind of the culture coming in, that what is she going to do? Let us see what she is going to do. But they never ask a man who is sleeping in the parliament, because he's a man.
I have no problem with motivating women or bringing in some incentives that help them to really get promoted there. But I always think we should do it differently. That means let's go down there and encourage them to go to school. Let's go there and encourage them to take on some of the courses they would otherwise not go into. And then in future it will just be automatic. We will have them competing. We will have them getting through on merit.
One woman who has shattered the glass ceiling is Lieutenant Colonel Rose Kabuye, a veteran of the Bush War, a former mayor of Kigali and member of parliament. She's now President Kagame's head of protocol. In spite of her achievements, she still argues that women's movements cannot succeed without the backing of their government.
Whenever women struggle on their own, it hasn't been successful. Europe, in America, everywhere. So this is not something we should have done it on our own. I don't think we could have managed it on our own because women all over are struggling to be there. But without the help of the leadership, without the sensibility that the leadership accepts that these are part of the people we want to work with, these are the people we struggled with, and we are not going to leave them behind when we're in government, it would not have worked.
Whatever the RPF's motivation, women have not only achieved political representation, but also positions of power in the government. 9 of Rwanda's senators and a third of ministers are now women.
There was nothing special, really. It's the fact that we have been treated equally as men. And because we have been treated equal as men, made us realize that we had talents. So they saw the power of women. Because our leadership accepted us to be part of them.
The public has also come to accept women in these roles. Isa Kirabo Kasiria gave up her post as an MP in 2006 and successfully ran for election as mayor of Kigali. She believes the only thing holding women back now is themselves.
We are risk averse in a way. That's why maybe we wish sometimes to stay within the same arena that we're used to. And jumping out of that arena means you're taking risk and you may make a mistake. I've learned that making mistakes is part of the deal. If I'm to progress, sometimes I need to get out of what I'm used to.
Just as economic empowerment led to political power, the example of women in government is changing the way Rwandan women see themselves.
This has been very important for women because they are realizing that their roles have changed. These are not the women who used to just sit back and wait for their husbands, their sons to give them money. These are women who have to struggle, work, wake up in the morning, go to the markets with the small produce to sell, go back in the evening, take home something. And when they meet in the market, these are all women together. And they are bonded by the fact that this is what we have to do. This is part of, and so it's made them really get out of going back to the hatred, and it has helped them to move ahead.
Our women MPs are an example to the rest of Africa. It makes me proud that we have so many voices in our parliament.
A new generation of women is growing up for whom the past is another country. Their confidence is perhaps a reflection of how Rwanda has changed.
What we have learned as women is that you can achieve anything if you really want to. For example, riding a motorbike, it used to be just for men. Now we are doing it too. All I hope for now is that one day I will save enough to buy my own bike so I could work for myself. I would love to be free to ride a bike that was truly mine. That is my dream.
For the women who've come so far in Rwandan politics, high office is now an achievable dream. But the question is whether this experiment in a small part of Africa will inspire change across the continent.
It's just like men. If you don't try men in positions of leadership, you'll never know their capabilities. So Rwanda has tried women in positions of responsibility, and now the leadership is sure that, yes, they are capable, and I just have to bring them in. So I think this is a good lesson that other countries also can learn.
It shows unimaginable capacity and passion. And I think what the world thought was a hopeless situation in 1994, we now have a future and a hope.